Good evening to everybody. I don't know, the number of students are very less. Only there are 3 students. I hope so. Let me wait for, I think so, 1 more 5 minutes, then I can start my class, please. Okay, if you all agree. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, I think so. Let us wait for 5 more minutes. Then, there are only 3 students. And then, I will start my class. Okay, we will wait for 5 more minutes, please. Okay, if you all agree.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Sorry, I am having one doubt. It's not regarding your class. It's about the assignments. Sir, you are not audible.
Yeah, actually, RC Bhuvaneshwar is there. I think so. You can ask them there. Somebody can, whoever is there, they may clarify to you. You can ask them, please. I think somebody is there from RC Bhuvaneshwar. Kindly clarify the doubt which will be raised by the student, please. Then I will start my class outwards. Yes, Amma, you can ask. RC Bhuvaneshwar, somebody is there? Okay, no problem. After my class, we'll try to discuss about that issue.
Okay. No, it's not regarding that. It's only that. Sir, you are not audible.
Yeah, okay, good evening to everybody. We cannot wait for much time. Whoever is available, I will go with my today's tours lecture actually. And today I am going to cover up the two aspects. One is what is the pre-treatment of the options available for treatment of biomedical waste, and what are the disposal options available in accordance with the biomedical waste rules. These two issues we'll discuss. And is this my slide is the visible?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Okay. Okay, therefore, just to recollect what you have discussed yesterday, and then we can go into the next topic so that it is easy for you to understand. Otherwise, it becomes somewhat, recollecting immediately may not be possible also. As you all know, the hospital is a generator for all these sort of waste, including the infectious waste. And this waste generally comprising of infectious waste is about 20% of total waste generated by the hospital, and 80% of the waste generated is generally from the hospital is about 80%. And that waste has to be segregated in accordance with the law, and it has to be taken care of in accordance with the law, so that there will not be any impact on the medical as well as the paramedical staff. Now, apart from this, the visitors who are going to visit the hospital, supporting medical staff, and also the workers who are involved in collection disposal of waste. Apart from this, it is also going to affect the general public and the environment if the waste generated from hospitals is not disposed of in accordance with the law. As you all know, yesterday we have seen the biomedical waste rules, where the rule says that these rules are applicable to all the persons involved in handling of biomedical waste in any form. There are 4 categories of biomedical waste defined in the rules. One is yellow, red, white, and blue color. And the rules emphasizes segregation of biomedical waste at source of generation. And the generated waste has to be stored at a safe and designated location in 4 color-coded bins. And bags which are used for segregation of waste should be not chlorinated. And you have to put a proper label in order to identify that particular waste is infectious nature, so that as referred in the rules, and also ensure the some type of infectious waste, such as highly infectious waste, such as human and animal article waste, soil waste, microbiology waste, and untreated waste cannot be stored not more than 48 hours. And some sort of only the waste can be treated by the hospital, provided if there is no any compacity within a distance of 75 kilometers. If any compacity is available within 75 kilometers distance, then the hospital has to ensure the treatment and disposal of the generated healthcare waste through that compacity only. Otherwise, it will be allowed to have their own captive treatment facilities. And especially the waste like the laboratory, microbiology waste, blood samples, and blood bags. These 4 categories of waste has to be pre-treated as per CPCB guidelines or WHO guidelines, and then that waste can be disposed of through a compacity by segregating that waste into yellow color bag. And when you are treating waste by adopting one technology called chemical disinfection, you have to ensure efficacy using the at least log 4. And whereas when you are adopting chemical disinfection, you can use 1 to 2% of sodium hypochlorite solution, and so that you can achieve the log 4 efficacy. Whereas if you are adopting the sterilization technologies like autoclave, microwave, or hydroclaving, etc., then you can achieve the efficacy around log 6 by operating properly the equipment in accordance with the standards stipulated in the Schedule 2. And also, you have to the phase out use of chlorinated plastic bags, gloves, and blood bags. And all the healthcare workers has to be trained by the hospitals at the time of induction, and also thereafter at least once in a year. And barcode system has to be adopted by all the hospitals in accordance with the guidance of CPCB. That is the one thing. Also, all the healthcare workers to be immunized against hepatitis and tetanus as per WHO guidelines or Ministry of Health and Family Welfare guidelines. But also, healthcare workers has to be provided with the proper PPEs. Otherwise, they should not be allowed to handle the biomedical waste at all. All the healthcare workers have to wear proper PPEs. Then only they have to handle the biomedical waste. Otherwise, they are not allowed to handle the biomedical waste in any form. And only trained workers to be engaged for handling of biomedical waste. And suggested technologies for treatment of disposal of the waste under the rules is incineration, plasma pyrolysis, autoclave or hydroclaving, dry heat sterilization, microwave, shredding, combination of sterilization, shredding technologies, or chemical disinfection using 1 to 2% sodium hypochlorite solution. And that sodium hypochlorite solution should have at least 30% of chlorine, residual chlorine definitely in order to ensure proper treatment. The disposal options are there like encapsulation, sanitary landfill, or disposal of deburial. Deburial is generally allowed in rural areas or in areas where there is no any conflict at all. If you want, for example, if you take Delhi, in Delhi, will not be allowed to dispose of the biometric waste by deburial because there are two common biometric waste facilities in Delhi, and therefore the hospital will not be allowed to dispose of this hospital or the hospital waste by deburial. They have to dispose of the hospital waste through the common facilities which are located within 70 kilometers. And also, any occupier who want to adopt any new technologies other than these technologies, then proposal should be submitted to the ministry in order to lay down the standards under the EP Act, and then only that new technologies can be adopted by any healthcare facility. Otherwise, any new technology which is there cannot be adopted by any hospital without the obtaining concurrence from the Ministry of Forest or CPC. I think so. As on date, I heard today there is one new technology is under operation in AIMS, where the waste they are converting into the ash type of form. That waste can be used for the purpose of manure. That therefore, that sort of technology is under trial now. That will be examined by the ministry. Then they will lay down the standard for operating such new technology. After notification of that technologies only they can be used. Otherwise, you cannot use any technology without notification of that operating standards by the ministry. And also, all healthcare facilities have to submit the annual report in Form 4 by June 30th of every year for the previous calendar year. Means January to December. The data has to be submitted by 30th June of next year. For today's, for this year's data, January 2025 to December 2025, healthcare generation data, and how this has been generated, how this has been generated, and also this information will be compiled. They will submit to CPCB by 31st July. Thereafter, CPCB will compile and submit the information to ministry. And all the data information has to be uploaded in the website, all the bedded hospital, and also they have to maintain the records at least for a period of next 5 years. This is what about the rules is concerned. Rules also stipulate standards for incinerators. Primary temperature about 800, secondary temperature about 1050 plus or minus 50, and resting time of secondary chamber should be at least 2 seconds. And these are standards prescribed for stack emission standards. And also operating standards for autoclave. Especially I am giving only example for a vacuum autoclave. The temperature should be 121 degrees centigrade, pressure should be 15 psi, and sterilization duration should be not less than 45 minutes. In case of gravity autoclave, the temperature and pressure remains the same, but the duration, the sterilization duration will be not less than 60 minutes. That is what you have to keep a note. And all the incinerators have to complete the requirements, and they also have to install OCMS informations, OCS online continuous monitoring system as per the parameters stipulated by the state board, and responsible authorities for enforcement of rules in the country is the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Ministry of Defense, CPCB, state political boards in the state, whereas political control committees in the respective union territory. Apart from that, government of the state governments are responsible, and the urban bodies are also responsible for enforcement of the rules. And in case of any violation, actions can be taken by the regulatory authority, including CPCB or state political boards, under Section 5 and Section 15 of the EP Act. Therefore, Section 5 is we can go up to the extent of closure of any hospital in case of violation, and the Section 15 we can take them to the court of law. Even we can go for improvement of the staff violating the rules. And yesterday also we discussed about 4 color-coded categories of waste, how the waste has to be segregated. In yellow color, this sort of waste has to be segregated, and this waste can be they kept in only in yellow colored bag. And this waste can be treated, meant only yellow colored bag waste is meant only for incineration or plasma pyrolysis or deburial only. Of course, deburial will be allowed where there is no any conflict at all, and rural areas. Therefore, that's why segregation is a must. Here, segregation is a must, and technology is fixed for this color type of waste. Therefore, you cannot mix up other color coded waste type into this yellow color. Therefore, whatever the waste has been listed here, all this waste has to be segregated into yellow bag. Therefore, all yellow bags will go directly for the incineration. Nobody is going to chat afterwards. Therefore, this waste will go directly for the incineration or plasma pyrolysis or deburial. Similarly, we have also seen yesterday the recycled plastics or infected plastics have to go into red bag, and this red bag colored the waste can be treated by autoclave or microwave or hydroclave, followed by shredding is a must in order to avoid the reuse of such waste. And after treatment, these waste can be allowed for treatment and the recycling of such waste. Definitely, plastic will go for recycling. Similarly, we have seen all waste shops have to be segregated into white color coded puncture-proof, leak-proof, tamper-proof container. And this waste can be treated by autoclave or dry heat sterilization followed by shredding. And after treatment, this waste can be used for different types of recycling activity, which includes disposal through iron foundries, and also or can be disposed of through sanitary landfills. And the final waste category is blue color, where the glass waste and body implants, metallic body implants, they have to be segregated into blue color coded. The cardboard box you can use, then you're not required to have any container. You can use cardboard box, but you have to put a label of blue color and biogas symbol has to be placed. And after treatment, this waste can be disposed of. This is what this sort of waste, how the waste has to be segregated into yellow color bag and container. And there are three categories of which waste you have to see this. Blood samples, blood bag, you have to ensure pre-treatment. After pre-treatment, this waste have to be disposed of through yellow color bag only, irrespective of plastic waste, whatever is there. Chemical liquid waste or chemical liquids have to be pre-treated by means of neutralization. Then that waste can go into yellow bag only. Similarly, microbiology, biotechnology, clinical laboratory waste has to be pre-treated using the adapted technology. After treatment of this particular waste has to go into yellow bag only. Therefore, this sort of waste has to, some type of waste requires pre-treatment because this waste is highly infectious waste. Therefore, it has to be pre-treated and all this sort of waste, whatever I mentioned, has to go into yellow bag. And one more thing is, all cytotoxic waste has to be segregated into yellow color bag. But here, the biohazard symbol, you have to put it as C label, so that you can easily identify whether that particular waste which is kept in the yellow bag is a cytotoxic drugs waste. Therefore, in order to identify such waste among the infectious waste, the cytotoxic waste can be identified easily by putting a label on yellow bag of C label. Whereas in case of highly infectious waste, you have to put a label of biohazard symbol. Is a must. That is the difference between infectious waste and cytotoxic waste. But the waste has to be segregated in color code with respect to the infectious waste as well as the cytotoxic waste. This is what I want to say. In concluding all the waste, human analytical waste, animal analytical waste, then the discarded linen mattresses, the of course, then animal analytical waste, soil waste, discarded date expired medicines have to be kept in yellow bag, whereas waste like microbiology, biotechnology, and laboratory waste has to be pre-treated using autoclave is preferred. Preferably, you have to pre-treat using by autoclave. That waste has to go into yellow bag directly after treatment. Similarly, one more waste, chemical waste, which has to be neutralized. After neutralization, this waste has to go into yellow bag. There is the difference between pre-treatment options. After pre-treatment, the waste has to go into yellow bag. That's why, just to have clarity on you, I want to show this slide so that you will easily understand. All infectious waste like plastics has to be mutilated at source itself. After mutilation, you have to put into a red bag. After treatment of this particular waste can go for further the recycling activity. Similarly, when it comes to the container, all waste shops have to be disposed through the white coded color container, and this should be leak proof, puncture proof, so that you should not be able to take out any waste which has been stored at all. Therefore, definitely the waste container, white container which is used for disposal of waste shops or segregation of waste shops should be white container, and preferably should have the leak proof and puncture proof definitely, and you should be able to see what is there inside. Therefore, it should be a translucent type of white container. And coming to the glass waste and the body implants, you can dispose of this glass waste and body implants through the blue color coded container. It may be a cardboard box, and after segregation, it has to be disposed through composting. The composting, they will go for treatment using the dry heat sterilization or the autoclaving or chemical reflection, and this waste will go for further recycling. Glass waste can go for recycling definitely through glass waste recycling units, and also metal body implants after treatment will go definitely for the purpose of the recycling activity through foundries or another industry. And these are the technologies, the permitted under the rules I already told. And all the segregated waste has to go for yellow color waste, will go for incineration. red color waste will go for autoclaving or microwaving or hydroclaving followed by shedding is a must. Then for after shedding, all this waste will go for recycling activity. Similarly, white container, the waste, like waste shops, it has to be treated by autoclaving, followed by dehydrogenation, and finally it will go for recycling through industry, concerned industry like iron power industries, or it has to be disposed of through the SLF, circular landfill facility. All the glass waste and the body implants can be treated by disinfection, soaking in sodium hydrochloride solution using 1 to 2% solution, and after cleaning the detergents also, this waste will go for the recycling, or it can be disposed of if it is no recyclers are available. As far as the yesterday's topic is concerned, just want to recollect that. I hope so. At least by today you would have understood about the rules is concerned. And now today we look into that issue. What is the pre-treatment and disinfection issues? As you all know, waste can be defined. Waste can be any waste which is having no more value than that we call it as generally a waste. Then there are different types of the waste can be classified into different types based on the source. We can call it as because of based on the source. We can call it as waste can be called as healthcare waste, agricultural waste, industrial waste, or municipal waste. Therefore, if you know the source, then that particular waste can be called as, if it is from healthcare waste, healthcare facilities, then you can say the particular waste can be called as healthcare waste. Any waste generated from agricultural activities can be called as agricultural waste, and any waste generated from industrial activities can be called as industrial waste, and any waste generated from the municipal activities can be called as municipal solid waste. Generally, we call it as the sanitary waste also. And based on the classification of biomedical waste, as per rules of
You are not audible, sir.
sorry, actually there was some internet problem. I just restarted. Now, can you see my slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
How many types of waste are there as per the biomedical waste rules 2016 notified by the government of India? I'm just asking you people to respond, please. Just now only we heard. Can you please respond? How many types of biomedical waste categories are there? Am I
Sir,
audible?
4 categories.
what type?
4 types. Am I audible to you? Okay then. Therefore, based on the classification of biomedical waste rules, the biomedical waste has got 4 types of categories of biomedical waste. One is yellow, red, blue, and white. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay then. And classification of hazardous waste, healthcare waste as per WHO, there are 8 types of categories are there. That is shops, infectious waste, pathological waste, pharmaceutical, and cytotoxic, chemical, radioactive, and non-hazardous waste. Therefore, this is the classification of healthcare waste as per WHO. And just remember these figures, please. You may expect some sort of questions in your exams also. And hazardous waste can be classified into 2 types. One is hazardous waste and non-hazardous. where non-hazardous categories are like paper, plastic, tin, vegetable waste, etc. They'll call under non-hazardous. Of course, in other way also I can say municipal solid waste. And hazardous waste, the like e-waste, radioactive waste, healthcare waste, etc. Or some types of waste are there which also fall into the category of the hazardous waste. Like example I will say mercury. Mercury will fall into the category of hazardous waste. Therefore, mercury waste generated from hospitals will fall into the category of hazardous waste. And waste, depending upon the harmful effect of the effects of waste on human health, we already seen yesterday on the biometric waste. And this waste classification as per physical properties, whether it is a solid or liquid. Solid waste can be classified into biodegradable waste or non-biodegradable waste, whereas liquid can be defined into black water, grey water, and storm water. The black water is a sewage, somewhat grey water is nothing but some generated from the kitchens, etc. And storm water, you may be knowing that wastewater generated from the monsoon waters, etc. Therefore, these are the classification of waste is concerned. This is the classification as per the details given under course materials. And whatever the waste is there, or whatever the rules are there, our focus is there are the waste management component says there are 4 types of waste. Whatever the waste may be, the hierarchy in waste management will be segregation at source. That is the waste, the main option. The objective of the rules is to ensure proper segregation at source, followed by proper collection and safe storage, followed by safe transportation and safe treatment and disposal. These are the disposal waste management, the activities, the components of the biometric waste management, mainly comprising of segregation source, collection and safe storage, then transportation, safe treatment and disposal. This treatment and disposal may be a on-site or off-site. Therefore, it may be treated by on-site or off-site. Therefore, these are the main components of biometric waste management. Any waste you take, the components of waste management will be segregation, safe collection, safe storage, safe transportation, and the proper treatment and disposal. The components of waste management, including the healthcare waste. The main the waste management hierarchy will be our option should be to prevent the waste generation. We have to have the various measures to be adopted in order to prevent waste generation at all by adopting different means. And in case if no waste generation is unavoidable, then we have to try to take necessary measures to reduce the waste generation, or whatever the waste is generated, wherever waste can be used for the purpose of reuse, that sort of waste can be reused. And also wherever the waste can be recycled, the waste can be recycled. All waste cannot be recycled or reused without proper treatment. Therefore, you have to ensure proper treatment before reuse or recycle. And wherever possible, the waste resource material can be recovered from the waste. You can recover from the waste materials. And after adopting the preventive measures, after adopting this, we call it as the 4 R's, like reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. After that, if waste generation is still inevitable, then that waste before disposal has to be pre-treated. It has to be treated properly. Then only the treated waste has to be disposed of. Otherwise, the untreated waste, if disposed of directly without any treatment, then it is going to cause impact on the environment. Therefore, if you refer at this, the diagram, you can see the most preferred option is the prevention of waste generation, and the least preferred option in the waste management hierarchy is disposal. Therefore, disposal into the environment should be our least option, whereas the generation, as far as the main option, most preferred option is to prevent waste generation. And if we can, even after prevention of waste generation also, if any waste is generated, we have to try to reduce waste generation by adopting environmentally sound the technologies for any manufacturing activities, and reuse. For example, any computer generated, and if there is any small problem, it can be repaired and can be reused. Therefore, any computer, like for example, laptop, instead of throwing as a waste, it can be recycled or refurbished. Means if there is a new word is coming up now for electronic waste, any waste which is the electronic waste which is not working, that particular instrument can be repaired, refurbished, and that waste can be particular waste one has felt as a waste, and after refurbishing, it can reuse. Recycle, for example, any waste, for example, hazardous waste is there, it may contain mercury or it may contain zinc, or it may contain the brass. Therefore, some may use some technologies for recovery of that particular the elements from the waste, and that elements can become a raw material for any other industry. Now, the recycle, for example, the recycle activity. For example, now it is a mandatory for disposal of all outdated vehicles through through recycling unit which are there in their respective states. Therefore, if any waste is there, instead of disposal into the landfills, if it goes for recovery of useful materials, then that recovered materials will become a raw material for any such industry. Therefore, for example, I will tell you ship breaking activities in the country is going on, where we allow ship breaking activities which are coming from other countries also. After recovery of we can recover various materials, various useful raw materials from the waste, the ship, where which cannot be used at all as a ship. After breaking, we make it iron, steel, or different useful raw materials. Therefore, that iron, steel also can be used for the purpose of the manufacture of iron, steel, the bars, which can be used in the construction activity. Therefore, we have to adopt prevention of waste generation and try to reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. Even after adopting these 4 R's, if there is no, if waste generation is inevitable, then before disposal of such no more useful waste materials has to be pre-treated, then that waste has to be disposed of into the different landfills or other options given by under the rules. Any questions, please? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Then, therefore, you see, any waste is cannot be recycled or reused, or then such waste has to go for the landfilling only for proper treatment. And such waste before disposal into landfilling, you have to treat the waste. Otherwise, it is going to cause impact on the environment or public. Therefore, any waste which is going for landfilling, that waste has to be treated properly. Only the treated waste should go for disposal into landfills. Therefore, we have got some type of waste, and we can use different types of technologies. One is burnt technologies and non-burnt technologies. These technologies is concerned, we'll discuss on Monday. In my next, on Monday, we'll discuss definitely about these 2 technologies. And burnt technologies are there, different types of technology. One is incineration or else plasma pyrolysis. Otherwise, non-burnt technologies, we can use like thermal processes, chemical processes, or mechanical processes, or biological process. Other technologies are there like microwave, or hydroclave, or autoclave, or dry utilization. These are the technologies, the non-burnt technologies, or we can use burnt technologies. Definitely, no doubt, burnt technologies are going to cause impact on the environment, because where you are going to convert the waste into harmless compounds by adopting the incineration process or plasma population. But in the process, you may, if no proper adequate measures are there for control of emissions, then it is going to cause impact on the definitely on the environment. In case of non-burnt technologies, they are not going to cause impact like burnt technologies. Definitely, the non-burnt technologies are they definitely useful, but these technologies cannot be adopted for all the type of waste generated by the hospitals. Therefore, whichever the technologies are generally burnt technologies can be used only for the highly infectious waste, whereas non-burnt technology can be used for low infectious waste categories like plastic waste, other the waste shops, the glass waste, and the body implants. Whereas human animal autoclave waste under the waste categories listed under the yellow category, all that waste has to go for burnt technologies for treatment. And after converting that waste into harmless compound, then only that waste generated in the process of burnt technologies can be disposed of by the landfill only. And as per the biomedical waste management rules, it is mandatory for on-site treatment of some highly infectious waste like laboratory waste, microbiology waste, blood samples, and blood bags. Therefore, these particular 4 categories of waste has to be pre-treated within the hospital before it is going to the yellow color bag, and for further treatment disposed through composting, which is located within 75 km distance. Therefore, the 4 categories of waste has to be disposed of only through pre-treated. Then this waste has to go for yellow color bag. Therefore, you have to remember these particular categories of waste has to go for pre-treatment by adopting autoclave. I prefer always autoclave. Treat within the hospital, then it has these categories of waste after pre-treatment has to go for the yellow color bag, then further treatment through composting by incineration also. And pre-treatment is the step before subjecting infectious healthcare waste to the actual treatment and is imported at the healthcare facility so that it helps in safe handling. Therefore, what is the purpose of the pre-treatment? Why the pre-treatment has to be there? Pre-treatment because these four categories of waste, whatever I told in my earlier slide, these four categories of waste are considered as highly infectious. It may cause infections during the process of handling or transportation or treatment. Therefore, this sort of waste has to be pre-treated so that it is not going to cause an impact in the process of handling of nuclear waste. It can be handled safely, and especially this treatment can be done within the healthcare facilities, and also it becomes safe for during the transportation of waste, and also it becomes safe in order to treat the biological waste in through common facilities by the healthcare facilities. Therefore, pre-treatment option is this is the concept. Definitely, in order to help in safe handling of biological waste by the healthcare workers within healthcare facilities or during transportation and treatment of biological waste through common facility, the pre-treatment helps a lot in order to ensure safe handling of waste. Therefore, pre-treatment is a must. I already told the why you have to do this. The pre-treatment is required in order to the safeguard our healthcare workers for the purpose of the handling and during the within the hospitals for handling of waste within the hospitals, and also during the transport of waste, and also during the treatment and disposal of waste also through confiscati or anything else. Therefore, we can make safe healthcare professionals, rack pickers, waste handling workers, public. Therefore, if you ensure proper treatment before pre-treatment of disposal of waste, by pre-treatment, you can ensure safe for all the professionals, rack pickers, waste handling workers, etc., including public. Unsafety management of any waste, infectious waste can lead to transmission of communicable diseases. Please kindly remember these disease names. You can expect definitely one question from your for your examination. Therefore, in case if waste is not properly, unscientific management of waste is going to cause the impact. Definitely, it spreads the communicable diseases such as gastroenteric infectious and respiratory infections, skin, eye, etc. And especially the deficiency, we can expect some sort of the diseases such as human immunodeficiency virus, HIV we call it as, and also may cause the infections such as hepatitis B, C, E, and also tetanus, and also septicemia and tuberculosis. Therefore, if waste is not properly handled, this may cause this sort of infections, gastroenteric infectious, respiratory infections, skin, eye infections, apart from especially the HIV infection may cause, and also it may cause hepatitis B, C, E, tetanus, and this sort of tuberculosis, etc., may cause because of improper disposal of waste. Therefore, you have to adopt the proper technologies for the purpose of pre-treatment of waste, and especially the microbiology waste, biotechnology waste, and all other clinical laboratory waste has to be pre-treated by adopting sterilization up to the effectiveness of log 6, and if you adopt chemical infection, it ensure efficiency up to log 4. Therefore, this is the intention of the things, especially waste like short waste and culture stocks of the etiologic agents and associated biologicals has to be pre-treated definitely, so that it is going to cause and not going to cause any impact for the healthcare workers within the hospitals and other things. Therefore, other fluids like the human body fluids, laboratory waste, and the infected glass slides, and all these sort of waste or requires pre-treatment within the hospitals by adopting suitable technologies as stipulated in the rules. Now, coming to the biomedical waste, which should not be incinerated, like pressurized gas containers, large amount of reactive chemical waste, silver salts, and photographic or radioactive waste cannot be incinerated directly. And halogenated materials like the PVC-based plastics cannot be incinerated, otherwise they are going to cause the dioxin furans emission they may cause. If you go for incineration of PVC plastics, it's going to cause the dioxin furans, which are highly carcinogenic in nature. Therefore, such waste cannot be incinerated. And waste like containing mercury, any waste containing mercury-bearing waste cannot be incinerated. Cadmium and other heavy metals such as broken thermometers, used batteries, and lead-lined wooden panels, it cannot go for incineration. This waste has to be disposed of by adopting the corrective measures. By actual the treatment methods has to be adopted, and it has to be disposed of. All pharmaceutical waste has to be disposed of by incineration or plasma pyrolysis, at least by adopting by maintaining temperature of 1020 degrees centigrade in the process of treatment is a must. And the rule says, the biomedical waste rule says, yellow color waste like chemical liquid waste and chemical waste. These waste has to be neutralized before this waste go for the further treatment. Therefore, it has to, before it, this, like, chemical, the waste, it has to be neutralized. Only that chemical waste has to go for the segregation, yellow bag, whereas the chemical liquid waste has to be neutralized before it is sent for discharge through ETP for further treatment and disposal. Whereas microbiology waste, yellow color waste like microbiology waste, biotechnology waste, and other clinical laboratory waste, all this waste has to be pre-treated by adopting autoclave or microwave or hydroclave, and it has to be segregated by using safe plastic bags of desired thickness in accordance with the plastic management rules, and this waste has to be sterilized. Only after sterilization, this waste has to be segregated in the yellow color bag, and this waste can go for further treatment. Now, let us have a look at what type of treatment technologies are there for treatment of biomedical waste. As I already told, the biomedical waste rules under Schedule 1 of the rules, which says pre-treatment of yellow collective waste destined to be incinerated can be pre-treated and only by non-chlorinated chemical methods. Therefore, any waste is going for incineration, you cannot treat such waste by chemical disinfection, because the sodium hypochlorite solution is a chlorine compound. If you use such compounds for treatment of waste, any waste which is meant for incineration, then that waste is going to cause a lot of the emissions like dashing furans, which are highly carcinogenic in nature. Therefore, any waste is going for incineration should not be treated by chemical disinfections, and only such waste has to be treated by autoclave or microwave only. And chemical, as far as the chemical disinfection is concerned, you can go for the 1 to 2% hypochlorite solution. At least there should be 30% of the residual chlorine, and at least there should be 20 minutes the treatment time you have to adopt. Then only such waste can go for further the recycling activity also. Apart from sodium hypochlorite solution, you can go for other alternates equivalent to chemical disinfectants. You remember this, please. Kindly, you'll get definitely one question on this. What are the alternates available for treatment of waste instead of hypochlorite? What are the alternate chemical disinfectants? There are like chlorine derivatives, ozone, chlorine dioxide, the peroxyphilic acid, lime solution, dry inorganic chemicals or enzymes can be used for the alternate to the hypochlorite solution. Therefore, but you have to using chemical disinfection, you can ensure the efficacy around log 4. Log 4 is nothing but 99.99%, whereas log 6 means 99.9999. Log 6 means 6 digits of 9. After 2 decimals, you have to have the digit. After 2 decimals, you have to put a digit so that you can easily understand. Therefore, log 4 is 99.5% efficacy. Log 6 means 99.9999. Therefore, adoption of autoclave is more efficient than chemical disinfection. Therefore, we always suggest the chemical disinfections should not be used for treatment of waste, because it is going to cause secondary pollutants that liquid waste has to be disposed of in accordance with the law. Therefore, we always suggest to go for the autoclaving. Autoclaving is easy to operate, and we can ensure efficacy of log 6 that is safer than the chemical disinfectants. Therefore, sterilization is always high level of dissection of inactivation of pathogenic bacteria. Therefore, we always prefer sterilization by adopting autoclave or microwave or dry sterilization in order to achieve the desired level of efficacy by log 6 is nothing but 99.9999% of efficacy. Therefore, always adopt the pre-treatment options or pre-treatment of waste by adopting autoclave is the best method, so that it can ensure efficacy definitely. And what are the efficacy depends upon? Efficiency depends upon operation conditions. Suppose if you adopt autoclave, you can achieve efficacy of log 6 is nothing but 99.9999. Suppose if you are not operating the autoclave at a desired temperature, pressure, and residence time, then you cannot achieve log 6. Therefore, efficacy or disinfection efficiency depends upon operating conditions, how you are operating, whether you are operating properly or not. Okay. Therefore, that you have to keep into mind, and they definitely have to adopt to proper operating temperature, the standards, then only you can achieve desired temperature and pressure. What are the various technologies available for the wet and dry? The disinfection methods are there. The dry thermal disinfection methods are there. We have pretreatment by autoclave or hydroclave or microwaving, and dry sterilization can adopt it. They are the thermal disinfection technologies. Wet technology is nothing but chemical disinfection. And I think so. You might have seen the autoclave. I'm just asking you, have you
Yes,
seen autoclave or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
sir, we have.
definitely. You all know about autoclave. They know necessary to say in depth by me, and yeah, because as you already you're all from medical field, definitely you all know what is the autoclave. Definitely, there are two types of autoclaves with there: gravity flow type of autoclaves and vacuum flow type of the autoclave. Vacuum type of autoclave is very effective compared to the gravity flow, because in case of vacuum autoclaves, where we are going to apply the vacuum and we are ensuring the heat, the mode of treatment is by using steam here in case of autoclave. By applying vacuum, we can ensure that depth of penetration of steam will be higher when compared with the gravity vacuum, the autoclave, gravity autoclave. Therefore, vacuum autoclave is always preferred if you can maintain a temperature of 121 degrees centigrade and a pressure of 15 psi and a temperature not the resin time not less than 45 minutes. You can achieve definitely efficacy about log 6. That means 99.99. Whereas in case of the microwave, where we are using microwave as the energy in order to treat the waste, where microwave is used, and we can adopt microwave also, but microwave has got its own advantages, disadvantages. All type of waste cannot be treated by microwave. Only the auto can be used for the treatment of waste, definitely, and we can achieve log 6. Of course, microwave also can be used, but microwave is not applicable for all sort of the waste can be treated. Now, definitely, when you're operating the what do you call the gravity flow autoclave, you have to maintain temperature at least 121 degrees centigrade, pressure of 15 psi, and the resin time of not less than 60 minutes. In case of the vacuum autoclave, the temperature and the pressure will be same, but the resin time can be reduced. That means it cannot be not less than 45 minutes. At least there should be a resin time of 40 minutes in case of vacuum autoclave, whereas in case of gravity autoclave, you have to maintain temperature of 121, pressure 15 psi, and the resin time of the not less than 60 minutes. And of course, depending upon the temperature and pressure variation, you can minimize, you can reduce further the resin time. Higher the temperature, we can minimize, you can reduce the resin time further less. But if you are maintaining at 110 to 15 psi, you have to maintain the resin time not less than 60 minutes in case of gravity flow or the gravity flow autoclave. But in case of vacuum autoclave, the temperature pressure remains the same, whereas the resin time can be reduced. It can be less than 45 minutes, but not less than 45 minutes. And when you are ensuring, there are two types of tests are conducted. Anybody know, please? Are you aware of how you are going to check the efficacy, please? What type of tests are there?
Sir, one signal is attached with the while we are sending the autoclaving.
No. How can you achieve efficacy? How to conduct the test of efficacy?
Okay. I don't know, sir.
Yeah, anybody is having microbiology background? Yeah, Surabhi Davar, what are you from? Where are you from?
Sorry, sir.
No. Are you aware of are you having the medical field, or you're a student of what?
Sir, I am a nursing officer, paramedical staff.
Then you should know, microbiology. Definitely, you should know how to operate autoclave,
Yes, sir.
how to achieve efficacy, how do you test autoclave whether it is waste treated by autoclave is perfect or not. How do you ensure by what type of
Sir,
test? Conduct?
वो tape test.
Sir, by achieving the temperatures which is meant to kill all the bacteria. In
Yeah.
case of autoclave, we use 131 degree centigrade for uh, certain amount of time and depending on the load.
No. One
सर
way.
एक सर
हाँ, बोलिए मैम।
ऑटोक्लेव पे एक इंडिकेटर टेप लगाई जाती है, उससे पता लगता है कि प्रॉपर वो ऑटोक्लेव हुआ है या नहीं है, उसका कलर
We
चेंज
are
हो
using
जाता है।
biological indicator and chemical indicator to ensure.
Yeah. There are two types. Yeah. Pooja Das ji, may I request you kindly keep your the microphone in mute, please. Yeah, thank you. What is it? There are two the indicators you can use. One is the biological indicators you can use.
Sir, rather we are
One
using
is
three.
yeah.
One as a type 1 to cover the whole package to ensure that the package is not open and
Yeah.
everything is sterilized. Second, to ensure the people who handle that.
Yeah.
Second is chemical indicator depending on the load.
Yeah.
Third is
Yeah.
biological indicator to ensure that all the spores are also killed.
Yes, sir. What is said is correct. When you are operating your autoclave, the autoclave has to be. There are two types of tests are there. Whether see first thing is we have to ensure that the temperature and pressure and resin time has to be adopted as per according with the biometric waste rules. Okay. After ensuring, in order to test whether you have achieved efficacy or not, there are two types of the tests are conducted. One is chemical indicator strip test, and other one is biological indicator test. It is nothing but chemical indicator step is nothing but one tape, as stated by, I think so, who is that Madam Surabhi Davarji. It looks like a tape, ordinary tape, and this tape has to be put along with the bag, and you maintain the 121 temperature and 15 psi, and adopt the residue time of not less than 45 minutes. After operating this your equipment, then remove the strip which is attached with the waste bag, and you see whether that strip is changed its color or not, as prescribed by the supplier. Suppose if the supplier says the color of my tape, which is white in color, after treatment of after the putting into the along with the waste, and after treatment of waste by autoclave and all, after taking out, after operating autoclave and all, when I see it, the color should change yellow color, or you would have told violet color. If color has not changed to that specified by the supplier, then you have not adopted or operated your equipment properly. If it is before and after treatment, the color is same. That means you have not operated your autoclave and you have not achieved desired efficacy. Therefore, you have to restart the batch once again. You have to restart the operations and ensure temperature, pressure of desired level, and residue time of desired time. Then only you can achieve. Otherwise, what you have operated is wrong. If you don't, if the color of the strip does not change in after treatment of waste, operating the equipment of direct temperature and pressure, then that means you have to repeat the process. Otherwise, if you have achieved the desired color after operating the equipment, that it says efficacy you achieved. Therefore, that is correct. You have to test the pass. Second method is like a vial. It is like a vial. Vial is kept along with the waste bag, and we operate the equipment after maintaining desired temperature, pressure, and the resin time. Then this waste we take out a vial, then we go for incubation. After incubation, if there is no any change in the color, that indicates there is no any biological activity. That means all spores which are there killed, because you have operated your equipment as per the requirement of rules. That means 120 you have maintained 15 psi, and you have operated for not less than for a period of 45 minutes in case of vacuum autoclave. Therefore, there is no the change in the color of the vial in after incubation. That indicates you have killed all the spores. In case if there is a change in the color of the vial, even after treatment of operating the equipment of desired temperature, pressure, and residue time, that indicates spores are there. That indicates activity is there. Therefore, color change under favorable conditions. Therefore, that means that particular batch of treatment of waste is failed. This is what the test. Therefore, when you are adopting indicator, chemical indicator for every batch, this test has to be conducted. And whereas in case of biological indicator, this test has to be conducted at least once in every week, and record has to be maintained. This is about the testing of ensuring microwave. As I already told, microwave also can be used for the purpose of treatment of waste, but some waste like cytotoxic, hazardous or radiated waste cannot be treated using this Other materials like animal carcasses, body parts, and large metal items cannot be treated by microwaving. Therefore, the microwave has got disadvantages. These are the advantages and disadvantages. Therefore, you cannot go for treatment of all type of waste using microwave. And the efficacy is same as that of the test can be conducted. In case of dry heat sterilization also, you have to maintain temperature of 185 degrees centigrade. Residence period should not be less than 150 minutes. And the sterilization period of 90 minutes definitely. Residence time is about 150 minutes total. Total time is. But out of this residence time of 150 minutes, sterilization time should be at least 90 minutes. Complete process takes 150 minutes. Out of that, 90 minutes is should be sterilization period. And here also validation tests are conducted using the biological indicator of Geobacillus stereothermophilus or Bacillus astrophis spores, and we have to achieve log 6. The same test is conducted using biological indicator, and we have to check. And this test can be conducted both strip test or here also you can use both strip test as well as the biological indicator. Whereas strip test we have to conduct for every batch, but in case of the spore test, we have to conduct this efficacy test for every once in a week. This is what I want to say. This is the strip test, strip materials, the vial, the chemical indicator, and this is the biological indicator. Now, when you want to test efficacy of autoclave, whether you're operating whether you're treating the waste properly or not, then take the strip, paste along with the bag, like especially pre-treatment of waste. Like, yes, please.
It's Baudic test, sir. Initially, we have to check. Hello?
Yeah, I'm coming to you. After you're saying, we can say. Okay. This strip has to be strip has to be pasted along with the bag, especially waste containing laboratory waste, microbiology waste, blood samples, and blood bags which require pre-treatment. Along with the bags of this waste, put to strip, paste it, and put entire bag into the autoclave. Then close the doors, operate the autoclave at a temperature 121, 15 psi, and rest time of 45 minutes in case of the vacuum autoclave. After operating for these 45 minutes, open the door. After cooling down, open the door and take out the strip which you have pasted with the bag and observe the color. Whether the color has changed as specified by the supplier or not. Yes, color has changed as specified by the supplier. Then you have operated your equipment properly and is complying with the norms. Okay, that is what I want to say. Secondly, similarly, the vial also same. The vial also has to be placed along with the bag before treatment of waste. Then the bag containing this vial outside only, you have to paste it. Yeah, try to paste this vial along with the bag and put the waste which is going to be treated, that bag inside the autoclave, close the door, operate your equipment for 121 degrees temperature, 15 psi. Thereafter, and the ready time of 45 minutes. Then, after cooling, open the door, take out the bag. Then you take out the vial and go for incubation. When you see here, if vial initially is violet in color, even after treatment, if the color is violet only, that indicates you have killed all these spores. That means you have killed no activity because you have killed all these spores. No change in color will be there in the vial even after incubation. Whereas in case of the vial, if there is a change in the color is there, that indicates the spores or activity is there. Spores are not killed all. Therefore, that particular batch is failed. Therefore, this is how this test is conducted. But in case of chemical infection, we have to use sodium hypochlorite solution of 1 to 2% and having residual chlorine about the 30% and for a duration of 20 minutes. And you have to achieve, you can achieve using chemical infection, will achieve efficacy about log 4, or in case of autoclave, will achieve definitely log 6 efficacy. Therefore, pre-treatment of liquid chemical waste is there. You also have to, these are the various types of wastewaters, which also requires pre-treatment of chemical waste. How I will show you, these are the various types of wastewater generated from different sources within the hospitals, and this liquid waste has to be pre-treated. Here, neutralization, liquid chemical waste means treatment, pre-treatment is nothing but neutralization. Now, any liquid waste, chemical liquid waste having, how to check? You have to check your pH values of this wastewater, chemical liquid waste. Then, this sort of equipment you should be there. What are the waste you are discharging through basin, this wash basins, that should be collected, and you depending upon the pH level of this chemical liquid waste, either you have to use acid or base for the purpose of neutralization. And if the pH level is of desired level is achieved after mixing up with either acid or base, depending upon the pH value of the chemical liquid waste, then that waste can be discharged for further treatment and disposal. Any questions, please, here? Any questions? Other things are also there, like the discarded linens and the is there. These sort of things can be disposed of by the under yellow category only, that can be disposed of by incineration. This waste is required to be packed in non-chlorinated yellow plastic bags or chlorinated packing material. Such waste is required to be treated and disposed of by non-chlorinated chemical infect method only, and before the going for final disposal by incineration or plasma processor or for energy recovery also. In absence of above facilities, you can go for treatment of that waste by the chemical infection. In case if the above technologies are not available, then you can go for the chemical infection. However, after treatment, it has to go for the shedding is a must. So for any questions regarding this, the pre-treatment option is concerned, you can discuss. Any questions, please? Sir, you're asking, sir. Anil Bhargava, sir, you're asking for something, Do you have any still doubt? Yeah, okay. Anybody else
No,
having
sir. No, sir. No, sir. You have cleared everything.
Okay. Then I think so. Do you like to have a 5 minutes break? We'll come back at 5:15. If you don't mind, then we'll have some water also. Then I'll join back. Hello, with a break of 5 minutes, I will restart the other lecture, final lecture of the today's lecture on the disposal aspects and the options of biometric waste, please. Okay, I will rejoin with you all. And what is the time now? If you don't mind, time is 5:15.
5:16, sir.
I will come back at 5:20, please, after having tea or water, please. Okay, then?
Sir.
I'll come back by 5:20, please. Is my slide is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I'll just wait for 2 more minutes. Later, the others also join, please. Okay. Yeah,
Sir,
we
you
have seen.
okay, okay.
Yeah. Can you see my slide, please?
Yes, yes, sir, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Therefore, any questions? I don't know. You people are not asking anything. No doubts.
सर मेरा
Are you
एक
clear?
क्वेश्चन है
Yes, please. Actually, I am
सर
having
लाइक
my coffee. I will have my coffee because by the time they brought in, they take 10 minutes time. Okay. Yes,
सर आई
we
एम
know. I
स्पीकिंग
will get it.
हिंदी
हिंदी में पूछ सकते हैं. मैं दिल्ली में रहा था 22 साल. बोलिए, पूछिए.
सर लाइक जैसे कि हमने बायोमेडिकल जनरेट किया लाइक हमने पेशेंट को ब्लड बैग लगाया देन उसको हमने डिस्कार्ड किया बट अभी ऐसा है कि उसको पहले हमें प्री ट्रीटमेंट करना है तो मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि प्री ट्रीटमेंट जो उस ब्लड बैग को लगा रहा है वो करेगा या ओटी वाले करेंगे कौन करेगा
सी ब्लड बैग कहाँ से जनरेट हुआ है? कहाँ से जनरेट होता है? आपका वार्ड से जनरेट हो सकता है.
यस
और
सर
there may be some sort of unutilized blood bags. Means the date might have been expired for blood bags. They're all the biomedical waste only. Now your laboratory should have one autoclave provision as a part of laboratory. That autoclave should be there, and this sort of waste you have to go for treatment within the hospital laboratory itself. That particular high infection waste has to be pre-treated using autoclave, and then after treatment also that particular waste has to go into the yellow color bag only. It has to go for incident because these particular wastes are highly infectious. It may cause any impact during the handling or during transportation or during treatment process also. Therefore, that particular waste has to go for the blood bag, and blood samples has to go for yellow bag only after pre-treatment. Your laboratory should have, or for entire hospital, you can have one sort of the common autoclave for treatment of any waste which requires pre-treatment. That waste can be pre-treated, then it can go for segregation, then it can be given away to confessing operator. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
यस सर
Any other questions? Otherwise, I will go for next topic, please. Therefore, after hearing to that, the treatment of pre-treatment of biomedical waste, the next topic I had to cover as per the schedule is the on-site and off-site disposal options. What are the on-site options and what are the off-site disposal options? Anybody can say, what do you mean by on-site and what do you mean by off-site?
No idea,
Please
sir.
get it. On-site means, what do you mean by meaning? On-site means what? On the spot. What do you mean by on-site? Means on the spot.
सर आई
Off-site means,
थिंक
yeah,
ऑन
please.
साइड मतलब कि वहां पर हम है और ऑफ साइड वहां पर हम नहीं है आई थिंक
Yeah, that way also. That way is also okay. On-site means on the spot. For example, we can call it as any waste which is kept in a hospital where that waste is generated. Therefore, it is called as on-site storage. What is the off-site storage? Means waste generated from the hospital, but waste is not stored in the hospital, but somewhere else. Somewhere else where it could be common biomedical waste treatment facility. See, waste should be stored whether in the hospital or it has to be handed over to the common facility. He will carry it, transport it, then he will store it within his premises. Therefore, any waste stored within the hospital can be called as on-site storage. Any waste stored away from the hospitals, not in the hospital, but somewhere else at the designated place can be called as on-site, the off-site storage. Similarly, treatment also. For example, any waste, which are some waste of the biomedical waste requires pre-treatment. As per law, you have heard also, the microbiological clinical laboratory waste requires pre-treatment. Blood samples and blood bags requires pre-treatment. Now, if you are treating this waste within the hospital, then that treatment facility called as on-site treatment facility. You understood? Suppose any waste which is handed out to the common facility, the common facility has taken that waste, transported and taken to his facility premises, then he is treating the waste collected from hospital in his facility, which is being authorized by the state board, then that waste treatment is called as offsite treatment. Similarly, disposal. Any waste disposed within the hospital premises can be called as on-site disposal. Any waste disposed away from the hospital or not in the hospital premises, then it is called as off-site disposal. Therefore, on-site means within the hospital. In terms of hospital is concerned, on-site the on-site with respect to hospital is called as on-site within the hospital. Off-site means not within the hospital but away from the hospital. Therefore, that is how we have to understood. Now I have understood. Any doubts? Any doubt, please? Now somebody has to say yes or no. Now somebody has to respond. Doubts are there or not there?
No, sir.
No doubts. Okay, thank you. Now let us see what is the procedure generally. Have a look at this slide. What it says, biometric waste is generated from the hospitals, and where the waste is segregated as per the color coding prescribed under the rules, isn't it? Then the waste collected, that waste is collected by the confiscate operator from the hospitals, provided if there is no any confiscate within the 70 kilometers from the hospitals, then the waste will be collected by the confiscate operator, because the hospital has to dispose of that particular waste through confiscate only. Therefore, confiscate is going to collect the waste for the purpose of further treatment and disposal of the biometric waste generated from a particular hospital. Therefore, confiscate operator will go on daily basis and he will collect all the segregated waste from all the healthcare facilities who are the members of that facility. Then he will transport it. Then that waste is treated in the premises of confiscate. Then we call it as off-site treatment and disposal. If any waste which is treated within this hospital, let us say, treated and disposed within the hospital, then it is called as on-site treatment and disposal. No, a waste generated, but waste is generated from the hospital, but it is not treated and disposed within the hospital, but it is collected by the confiscate operator, and that waste is collected, treated and disposed by the confiscate operator within his premises, can be called as off-site treatment disposal facility. Whereas for with respect to confiscate, then a treatment and disposal within his facility can be called as on-site with respect to confiscate. Whereas with respect to the hospital, it cannot be called as the on-site facility. It can be called as only off-site only. Have you understood, please? Now, once the waste is collected by the confiscate operator, from various members, it will have two types of waste. All yellow color waste will go for incineration, and the waste, some type of other waste will be there, like recycled waste, like red, white, and blue category of waste can be recycled after treatment. Therefore, when you are treating the yellow color waste by incineration or by plasma pyrolysis or the thermal destruction methods, then you have to adopt the incineration, and incineration should be attached with the proper air pollution control devices, so that when you are operating the incineration by the treatment of waste by the incineration, and there should be proper air pollution control measures should be there, so that you can minimize the emissions of the pollutants into the environment. You can control by means of air pollution control devices. When you are treating the waste by incineration, some type of wastewater is generated that has to be pre-treated through ETP. After treatment of liquid waste, that waste can be recycled back into the incineration process for using as for the recycling into the air pollution devices. The recycled water can be, treated water can be recirculated into the system. And when the process of treatment of liquid waste, we generate some sort of waste called as ETP sludge. That sludge has to be pre-treated, then that waste can be disposed of by secure landfill only. Therefore, in the incineration process, we are going to convert the harmful, highly infectious waste into harmless compound, that is what you call it as ash, and from APCD also will get some sort of liquid waste. Therefore, when you treat that waste also will get ETP sludge, and all this waste has to be disposed of only through secure landfill after some treatment is given. Now, coming to recyclable waste, all the plastics and the plastics, glass and stainless steel containing material, like the waste shops, that waste has to be treated by the autoclaving or microwaving or hydroclave or dehydrogenation or chemical infection, depending upon the availability of technologies. And after treatment of this, the waste using these technologies has to go for shredding. After shredding only, that waste has to go for final the disposal. According with the law, it may go for recycling or recycling activity, or if no recycling activity is available, then that waste has to be disposed of through landfill only. Therefore, some site of glass waste is there. The glass waste can be treated by the chemical method or autoclaving. Then that waste can go for after washing. Then not necessary to go for shredding of this glass waste, and that waste after washing can be disposed of through recycling units. Therefore, this is the system that will be adopted for the treatment and disposal of waste. Now, these treatment and disposal methods may be available as a part of the hospital, or if any conflict is available within the 70 kilometers, then that waste cannot be treated by the hospitals. All the generated waste has to be treated. Some whatever the waste requires pre-treatment, that waste has to be pre-treated, and all that waste generated and the pre-treated waste has to be handed to the conflicty. And the conflicty will, on behalf of hospitals, will treat and dispose such waste by adopting this sort of methods. Therefore, on-site treatment and disposal is the treatment and disposal is same. These methods can be adopted by either hospital or conflicty, but the whether it is allowed by the hospital to treat and dispose or not, that depends upon the availability of the conflict. Therefore, if any conflict is there within the near to the hospitals or within 75 kilometers of hospitals, then the waste will not be allowed to treat on site. That waste will not be allowed to treat and dispose on site by the rules. And if any conflict is there, then that waste will be collected with the conflict from the hospitals. Then that waste will be treated and disposed of by the conflict. In such a case, we call it as offsite treatment and disposal. That is what we have to define into two methods. And this we have seen already. And yellow color waste, red color waste, white color waste, and blue color waste will be treated following these technologies, as already we have discussed in the earlier lecture in the afternoon. And wherever conflict is not there, or where there is no any access to conflict, then biomedical waste can be allowed to dispose of by deburial. If you want to dispose of this, the biomedical waste by deburial, the condition, the prerequisite is there should not be any conflict. In any area where there is no any conflict, in such a case, the hospital can dispose of that biomedical waste generated by them by deburial. This method we call it as on-site disposal method, because no conflict. Now that waste has to be disposed of, then it is allowed. Rules will allow to dispose of that generated waste by the hospitals through deburial. This deburial should have the complete the requirements of specifications. How it is, at least depth should be 2 to 5 meters below the ground level, and at least width should be 1 to 2 meters. And upon disposal of daily waste, that waste has to be covered with the soil or lime layer on daily basis. Once the deburial pit is filled up, then that entire waste has to be covered with the soil of about 50 centimeters of soil cover. Then it can be allowed to leave it for this. Therefore, the proper fencing should be there, and always at least the ground level, the groundwater table should be at least 5 meters below the bottom of the deburial. Therefore, when you are adopting the deburial, you have to take into account the bottom of the deburial pit at least should be located at least 5 meters above the groundwater table. Otherwise, it is going to cause impact in the form of the seepages. What type of disposal options are available? It depends upon the factors are there, the waste characteristics are there, depending upon the quantity of waste, and depending upon the options available for final disposal, and also what is the regulatory requirement. Suppose rule says you can dispose within the hospital, provided if there is no conflict. Then rule says you can have both treatment options and disposal options within the hospital itself. When there is a common facility, then rule says hospital cannot dispose of the waste within their premises because there is a common facility. Therefore, all the waste has to be disposed of through common facility only. Therefore, depending upon the regulatory requirement and allowing to treat and dispose the waste, one has to choose the disposal options and the capacity of physical facility to handle the quantity of waste. Earlier, in the 1998 rules, the rules have allowed to dispose of the waste by the hospital within their premises, but considering the healthy nature has to be followed, healthy conditions has to be maintained by the healthcare facilities, treatment and disposal of within the hospital is generally not permitted. Therefore, in order to ensure that proper healthcare is taken care of by the hospital. Therefore, within the hospital, treatment disposal is not at all encouraged. That's why all the waste generated by the hospital has to be disposed of only through the common facilities, which is located within 75 kilometers. And also, the capacity of the treatment system is one of the requirements, whether it can be the adopted for disposal options is there or not. Volume and mass reduction, also environment and safety factors, cost consideration. If cost is available, they can have their own facility. If they are no, if they are not in a position to bear the cost towards the treatment that is disposal, then it becomes a problem for the hospitals to manage the cost. See, that's why I told you, if you segregate the waste, suppose if you are generating 100 cases of total waste, out of that, 20 cases will be the infrastructure waste, and 80 cases will be 80 cases definitely will be what you call the solid waste. If you mix up both, you are converting the infrastructure waste into more the infrastructure waste. Therefore, segregation is a must. Proper care should be taken care of for segregation at source, so that you can minimize the segregation of the treatment cost and also can minimize impact in the environment. Therefore, cost is also plays a major role. If you segregate properly, you can minimize the cost of the disposal of the waste by the hospitals. And occupational health and safety consideration has to be taken care of. Suppose this is also very important, so that it can be taken care of by the hospitals. And these are the choice. You have to see the factors, and if depending upon the availability of funds and depending upon the availability of the availability of the resources, you can take care of the it can be taken care of proper treatment disposal of waste within the hospitals or the common facilities. Therefore, these factors has to be taken into account for ensuring proper treatment and disposal of the biometric waste generated from the hospitals. And of course, disposal options for treated biometric waste as procedure one is we have got deburial. Deburial is, I told you, deburial is allowed only in places where there is no any common facility or in rural areas. And secure landfill, for example, ash is generated when you treat the waste by incineration. That waste has to be disposed of only by secure landfill or sanitary landfill. And some type of waste is there you can dispose of after containing. Like for example, if mercury bearing waste is there, that waste can be contained using some binding materials. After containing, that waste can be disposed of by in the landfills. Resource recovery, wherever it is possible, you have to go for resource recovery so that you can recover useful materials from the waste. Then that can become a raw material for any other part of the industry also. Pre-treatment and utilization of chemical liquid waste is a requirement, and pre-treatment of waste is also is required as per the law. And waste energy also can be used, waste like plastic waste. All plastic waste you can go for disposal through waste energy also. You can go for generation of electricity. You can use this plastic waste after treatment definitely. Recovery of fuel. Using plastic waste, we can also go for recovery of fuels. There are some technologies you can recover fuel or diesel oil from the treated plastic waste. That is also one of the disposal options available. Road making. Any plastic waste can be used for the purpose of making pavements. Yes, road making can be used along with the binding materials, and you can lay down the pavements using the plastics also. Use of waste as raw material by iron for it. Therefore, some of the industries may be having like stainless steel. They purely, if you take up the waste shops, all these waste shops are purely the stainless steel. Therefore, this stainless steel can be used for recycling by the iron or foundry industry definitely. Therefore, this slide I already told that. Yes, please.
Sir, will you please explain what is encapsulation? I didn't get.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. 1 minute, okay. And yellow color waste, I already discussed at length. The yellow color waste can be disposed of by deburial, provided if there is no any conflicting, and deburial is allowed in rural areas only. About this issue is concerned, I already discussed thoroughly yellow color waste. Now, this is the waste. Now, encapsulation. You see, this is any pipeline. Let us say it is a barrel. Now, I got mercury bearing waste. I cannot dispose directly. Now, I can dispose of that waste by encapsulation. How I can do is, I got the mercury bearing waste, then I use some binders like sand cement, mortar or lime, I'll use these materials and I'll mix up my mercury bearing waste along with the binding materials, and I'll convert into, I'm going to keep that all that the mercury bearing waste along with this binding materials so that it becomes non-leachable form. Even if it is, once it is becomes a part of the concrete, then this waste cannot go as a contaminant. Therefore, it is not going to cause any impact. Therefore, containment of any hazardous constituents can be called as encapsulation. Means no waste will become a leachable form. It will become a, suppose for example, if I have, now let me open my camera. Suppose, assume that this is a pipe. If there is a pipe, now I got my waste. Therefore, if I take out all the waste and mix up with all the binding materials, and I'll put it my waste materials as into the pipe. Then after filling this pipe and after curing certain days of that particular the pipe materials, then I will seal from the other side. I'll seal from the other side. That means now waste which was there as a hazardous materials, after binding with all my chemical material, the chemicals binding materials, I filled it to this pipe, where afterwards I close from the other end. Therefore, this becomes containment of waste, means encapsulation. Now, even if there is a rainfall on this particular the contained waste materials, not going to come in contact with the liquid waste. Therefore, no leachable fraction of pollutants will come out of this particular pipeline. Therefore, it is called as encapsulated waste or contained waste, stabilized waste. There are different technology words you can use. Therefore, this is the encapsulation technology. I hope so you understood.
Sir, you are muted.
Yeah, I hope so you understood the encapsulation method. Any doubt,
Yes,
please?
sir. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then, coming to the other methods are there. Anyways, I told you, when you are seeing the hierarchy in waste management, what is the option we have to follow in hierarchy? What is the preferred option? Most preferred option is prevention of waste generation. And other methods to be followed is what we have to follow. Other methods, we have to reduce the waste generation or recycle the waste generation, recover the waste materials and useful materials, and or reuse the waste as much as possible. Even after adopting this, the 4 R's, then we have got only the available, no other option, we have to dispose. Before disposal of any waste into environment, then that waste has to be pre-treated, and that pre-treated waste can be disposed of into landfills. This method called as landfill, where liner is placed, liner at the bottom is placed, then all the waste is covered over it. Once this pit is filled, then I will cover up with the liner, then I will close it. That means all waste will be inside the liner and is not going to export to the environment. Therefore, it is not going to cause any the effect on the environment. Therefore, this particular disposal of waste can be called as secure landfill. Therefore, generally we call it as, generally we dispose of the ash materials through second landfills. Any ash generated from the incineration process can be called as can be disposed of by the sanitary landfill. Therefore, anyways, you want to dispose of when there are no any treatment methods are available to you, then you can dispose by landfill. But that landfill should have a liner system, and once this landfill is closed, then it has to be covered with the liner system, followed by earth materials, clay materials, and you can grow over them the low root the plantations. I will show you what is the example, how it looks. Therefore, this is before filling of waste materials of the second landfill. You can dispose of waste like encapsulated waste materials, united the materials, neutralize the chemical waste, the chemical waste, the heavy metals. After the stabilization, you can dispose of this waste. Cytotoxic waste, where there is no any incinerator, then you can dispose of this waste through landfill. How? Once the landfill is closed, you see, that is how the landfill has to be closed with the liners and everything has to be covered. Therefore, there is no any contamination at all. And final option, just to recollect what your disposal, we have got various disposal options. First of all, we have to see that water the waste generated is required to be properly treated. We have to prevent waste generation Or the second option is if waste generation is no possibility, if waste generation is there, then you have to adopt to the recycle, reuse, and recover, and the maximum as much as possible. If no, even after recover, reuse, recycle, and all, waste is still there, which is no more useful, then is such waste has to be pre-treated. That waste has to be, you see, like, resource recovery material. For X-ray films, you can recover silver. Therefore, any waste is there which has to be meant for final disposal through landfill, then it has to be utilized and pre-treated. That waste only can be disposed of by the landfill. Any waste which can be disposed through waste to energy plant, therefore, like, where plastic waste you can send through waste energy plants, we can generate the power. Similarly, plastic waste, you can go for recovery of fuel. From plastic waste also can recover fuel or diesel oils. That method is there possible. And even we can use the plastic waste or slag from incineration can be used for the purpose of the road making or pavement. If any no waste is there, and any waste, some like stainless steel waste, that type of waste can be resolved by iron and power industries definitely, because they are pure stainless steel units. Any waste which is required to be disposed of, no other value is there, then that has to be pre-treated. That waste can be disposed of by landfill, and whatever the figures I showed you. And some type of waste is there where there no healthcare waste, where there no any conflict. In such a case, you can go for disposal of that waste by deburial. About deburial, I explained to you. Therefore, any waste which can be disposed of by deburial can be disposed of. The deburial should have the proper specification. That should be should meet the requirement as per the rules. Then only that waste can be disposed of by deburial. And other options are there, like waste pit or sharp sheet only at for disposal of the other options. But however, treatment and disposal options of pharmaceutical waste is there, like you can go for encapsulation, or you can give back to the manufacturers, or that waste can be disposed of by the incinerators, so that you can ensure proper treatment disposal. Therefore, as far as treatment and disposal options is concerned, and what are the options are available in accordance with law is concerned, I have explained to you in detail. If you have any questions, you can discuss. Otherwise, you can close the session, please. I hope so. You understood.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, then if no doubts are there, then we can close the session, please. Thank you all. And Monday we can discuss about the burn and non-burn technologies. Now, on Monday, I will try to show you some questionnaire. You have to answer the way I asked you yesterday. Therefore, try to attend the Monday class definitely between 4 to 6, please.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay?
you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank
And
you,
Monday,
sir.
Monday,
Thank
I
you.
want to show you some questionnaire covering this today's topic. If you attend today's topic, you can answer on Monday. Otherwise, you cannot answer. Therefore, try to go back, review through your the materials. Then, when you come on Monday after my lectures, I will show you that questionnaires. Therefore, you can answer them easily. Okay. Thank you all once again for attending this. Try to attend all my classes, and we will try to close all your classes on by Tuesday itself. Okay. Thank you all, please.